Mic's on. Wax on, wax off. Couple more seconds, or are they ready, or? Yamela, you want to do the? Yeah.
Not today.
Not today?
Canta un poco. Bien.
How about you? You want to do it?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, ready? No, you got it written down. Ooh, there's nothing like
Oh.
prepared this. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the City of Hialeah Planning and Zoning Board meeting for Wednesday, August 9th, 2023. Tonight's meeting will be a combination of land use. We do have one item in land use.
Yeah.
And regular business. So everyone, please rise from the invocation and the pledge of allegiance.
Lord, we thank you for gathering us here safely tonight. We ask that you allow all our voices to be heard, watch over us, and guide us in making the right decisions for our constituents and our city. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
Meeting guidelines. The following guidelines apply to today's planning and zoning board meeting. Any person, whether participating via the web platform, telephonic conferencing, or physical presence at City Hall, interested in making comments or posing questions on any item on the agenda may do so during the meeting. Members of the public may hear the meeting live through telephonic conferencing using any telephone or cellular phone service. A smart device or computer are not necessary to participate in the meeting if you join by phone. All persons participating via the web platform will be muted during the meeting until called upon to be heard. Participation through Zoom requires a computer or smart mobile device with a microphone and web camera. The participant may elect to participate in the meeting using audio only or appear through both audio and video. The video function of all participants appearing through video will be turned off until called upon to be heard. All lobbyists must register with the Planning and Zoning Board prior to item being heard. A maximum of 4 speakers in favor and 4 speakers in opposition will be allowed to address the Planning and Zoning Board on any item. Each speaker's comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Roll call. Mr. D. Perez,
Here.
Mr. Gamon,
Here.
Mr. Iglesias,
Here.
Mr. Jimenez is absent. Mr. Ulloa is absent. Mr. Casanova is absent. Mrs. Enriquez?
Here.
We have a quorum. Administration of oath to all applicants and anyone who will be speaking before the board on any item.
Any and all persons that are going to address the board, please stand, raise your right hand. That includes those in Zoom. I see Mr. Mestre there, so we can swear you in. Todas las personas que van a presentar testamento, por favor, necesitamos que juren el.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth before this board?
Okay, ¿usted jura que van a decir la verdad? Thank you. Okay. And the record showed that the answer was in the affirmative.
Summary minutes or a copy of the audio file of the proceedings before the Planning and Zoning Board shall be prepared and submitted to the City Council before its hearing. The Planning and Zoning Board recommendations for the following public hearing requests will be heard by the City Council at a scheduled meeting of Tuesday, August 22nd, 2023. LU 1, small scale map amendment from low density residential to transit oriented development district. Properties are located at 901 East 28th Street, 915 East 28th Street, 923 East 28th Street, 929 East 28th Street, 941 East 28th Street, 961 East 28th Street, 971 East 28th Street, 981 East 28th Street, 991 East 28th Street, 910 East 29th Street, 920 East 29th Street, 930 East 29th Street, 940 East 29th Street, 950 East 29th Street, 960 East 29th Street, 976 East 29th Street, 990 East 29th Street, 998 East 29th Street, and 2861 East 9th Avenue. Hialeah zones R1, one family district. Applicant, Tomas Pascuas.
Thank you.
Carlos.
Good evening, board
Name and
members.
address, please.
Carlos Diaz with offices at 333 Southeast Second Avenue, here on behalf of the applicant.
Thank you.
The properties in this application, sorry. The properties in this application include an entire block with the exception of one lot fronting East 28th Street and the property located at the southeast intersection of East 29th Street and East 9th Avenue that might be incorporated into the development in the future. The block is surrounded by East 28th Street on the south, East 29th Street on the north, East 9th Avenue on the west, and East 10th Avenue on the east. The property is located within a half-mile of the Hialeah Tri-Rail Metro Rail transfer station and north of a TOD proposed development recently approved under ordinances 2023-058 and 060. The applicant is before the city requesting a land use amendment from low-density residential to transit-oriented development district to be able to redevelop the block with a new 528 mixed-use development in accordance with TOD regulations. The requested land use is consistent with Goal 4 of the City of Hialeah Comprehensive Plan related to transit stations redevelopment, as well as with all related objectives and policies. Based on the analysis of the existing infrastructure, the property, if developed at its maximum intensity, meets concurrency. The recommendation is approval.
Thank you, Mr. Storage. You have the board.
Yes, good evening again, board members. We're very excited to present to you another project near the Hialeah Transfer Station, the Tri-Rail Station. This property, it's just north of the Hialeah 28 project, which is this board and the city council recently approved. So you can see we're between East 9th Avenue and 10th Avenue, between 28th and 29th Street. Like the other TOD projects in the area, we're requesting a land use amendment, which is this application, and a rezoning, which is later on your agenda. And we'll walk you through a site plan as part of the rezoning application. For now, just wanted to say that this is the latest project in the area. As you can see in this map, you can see some of the other projects that have been approved recently, some of which are under construction for reference. As Deborah mentioned, our application complies with all the goals and objectives of your comprehensive plan, including increasing density near mass transit and employment centers. This property is not only close to the Metro Rail station, it is also close to some significant employment centers in the city, like Hialeah Hospital and a lot of the healthcare uses that are, some of them have been established there for a while, but some are coming up as well. So this is an opportunity to provide new residential options, particularly to people that work in that area, but also for people who may want to use public transit. So with that, we conclude this portion of the presentation and we'll pick it up later on the rezoning application. We're here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, sir. Comments or questions on the board? Anyone in the audience have a comment or question on this item? Anyone in Zoom have a comment or question? Okay, closes the part of the public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Mr. Iglesias. Second by Mr. Gamon. Mr. Iglesias,
Yes.
Mr. D. Perez.
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez,
Yes.
Mr. Gamon.
Yes.
Item has been approved.
Thank you all.
Okay, at this point, the land use portion of this particular meeting is closed. So since everybody has been sworn in and everybody is happy and friendly with each other. We're still open. Name and address, please.
It may not have nothing to do with this, what you guys talking about, but at least close to the area. where
Name and address first, please. Your name and your address.
Okay, my name is Emilio Morales. Live 861 East 32nd Street.
Thank you.
Okay, I want to know how far it's gonna go. There's constructions going on right now. If it's gonna go all the way to where I live, Because I want to be, I want to be prepared for whatever's going to happen.
Okay. You want to answer that real quick, since you're the,
Yes. Yeah, this property is about 5 blocks away, I think, from your
Yeah.
property. Our application only includes this block right here.
But in the near future, on the long future, it's going to go all.
okay, to answer, I can answer that. I can answer that.
I have heard so many things, so I want to find
I
out.
can answer that question
Okay.
for you. The future plans for the city, urban development, which is what that is, a TOD, transit-oriented district. It's figure Lejeune Road to 10th Avenue, 11th Avenue, where the railroad tracks are.
Right.
Okay, from, is it like 21st Street, Deborah, or 23rd?
I'm looking at the map.
And it goes all the way to like 41st Street. Now,
No.
that is the
No, it doesn't go to it goes to 32nd Street.
32nd Street. Okay, that's the future view. Doesn't mean it's happening today or tomorrow. But as far as the city is concerned, that area, the whole area has been open for future development. Obviously, the developers need to come to you and try and negotiate, see if you want to sell your property and, your neighbors and all of that. It's a lengthy process.
Okay, but that's going to be from Legion all the way to the train tracks. On
Yes.
32nd Street, both sides of the street.
Let me explain you. When we prepare a map, we designate an area where you can come and apply for the land use amendment and the rezoning. If it's going to happen, we don't know, because depends on the market. So what I can tell you is, now I will tell you, I'm going to look at the map and tell you where it starts and where it ends. It ends on 33rd Street, and then, let me see. This map that I'm looking at is online. So if you want, you can go to our webpage and you can look at yourself. I don't know where your property is. You live on 21st Street,
32nd Street.
22nd Street,
32nd.
30,
So you're right there.
30.
Yeah, but he's.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're within. Yes, you're within. If
You live on, what was the house number?
That's 861, and that's north of 32nd Street.
861, you're on the north.
Right.
Yeah,
He might,
it might, but we don't know, because what we are trying to do is, as soon as this is growing, we're trying it to grow organically. So for example, if you have one block that is TOD, then the next block will be TOD, and then the following block. What we won't allow is a block to be TOD and then leave a whole block single family home and then continue the TOD. So it will grow, but it has to grow like in an orderly way.
Yeah, just want to find out if that area is right in, it's going to be right in the construction site.
My recommendation is, if you want, for your particular case, call my office, ask for an appointment, and I sit with you, I show you the booklet, and I explain you everything that is behind here.
That'll be fine.
Okay.
Perfect.
but
Okay.
you seem to be right there. So
Okay, thank you very much.
give her a call. That will be, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Any more comments or questions? We're getting ready to close this. All right, land use amendment is closed. We now revert back to regular business. Planning and zoning.
Item number 1, approval of planning and zoning board summary agenda of June 28th, 2023 as submitted.
Need a motion and a second, please.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Mr. Iglesias, second by Mr. Gamon. Mr. D. Perez.
Yes.
Mrs. Enrique.
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias.
Yes.
Mr. Gamon.
Yes.
Item has been approved. A written decision and resolution will be prepared and presented for review to the city council. The city council is authorized to affirm with conditions, or override the decisions by resolution. After the resolution is adopted, contact a member of the city clerk's office to obtain a copy of the final decision and resolution. Upon your receipt of the final decision and resolution, Contact the building department to obtain your required building permit. Summary minutes or a copy of the audio file of the proceedings before the Planning and Zoning Board shall be prepared and submitted to the City Council before its hearing. The Planning and Zoning Board recommendations for the following public hearing requests will be heard by the City Council at a scheduled meeting of Tuesday, August 22nd, 2023. Item number 2. Rezoning properties from R1, one family district to TOD, Transit Oriented Development District. Properties are located at 901 East 28th Street, 915 East 28th Street, 923 East 28th Street, 929 East 28th Street, 941 East 28th Street, 961 East 28th Street, 971 East 28th Street, 981 East 28th Street, 991 East 28th Street, 910 East 29th Street, 920 East 29th Street, 930 East 29th Street, 940 East 29th Street, 950 East 29th Street, 960 East 29th Street, 976 East 29th Street, 990 East 29th Street, 998 East 29th Street, and 2861 East 9th Avenue. Highly zoned R1, one family district, applicant Tomas Vasquez.
Thank you. Name and address, please.
Yes, good evening again, board members. Carlos Diaz with offices at 333 Southeast Second Avenue.
Thank you, sir.
The properties in this application include an entire block with the exception of one lot fronting East 28th Street and the property located at the southeast intersection of East 29th Street and East 9th Avenue that might be incorporated into the development in the future. The block is surrounded by East 28th Street on the south, East 29th Street on the north, East 9th Avenue on the west, and East 10th Avenue on the east. The property is located within a half mile of the Hialeah Tri-Rail Metro Rail transfer station and north of a TOD proposed development recently approved under ordinances 2023, 58, and 60. The site encompasses an area of 4.66 gross acres, allowing 125 units per acre, which results in 580 units. The proposed development includes an 8-story building with retail on the first floor, oriented towards East 10th Avenue. The development is proposed to include 53 studios, 265 one-bedroom units, 77 one-bedroom plus 10 units, and 185 two-bedroom units. A 688 space parking garage exceeding parking requirements is proposed with frontage and entrance facing East 29th Street. To be able to develop the property as proposed, the applicant is requesting a rezoning from R1 to TOD. Since the proposed project materializes the intent of the TOD regulations and propels the advancement of the district, the rezoning and variances shall be approved. Recommendation approval.
Thank you, Mrs. George. Carlos?
All right, this is the same property that just approved the land use amendment on. I think that recovered everything. I just wanted to just briefly, this is the residential project. We have retail on East 10th Avenue, and we're not requesting any parking variances. We have excess parking from what the code requires. Lastly, I just wanted to say, as Deborah mentioned, part of the organic growth of this TOD district, you see a lot of these projects have retail on 10th Avenue, because the idea is as these projects get developed, you sort of, create a more pleasant experience as you're walking on 10th Avenue and 25th Street, kind of like the main corridors there. So with that, I'll turn it over to the board if you have any questions.
Thank you, sir. Comments or questions from the board?
Sorry, you mentioned that this one will not have retail on the bottom? or-
Yes, it will. It will. It's on 10th Avenue on the corner there. And I
On
think
10th
as you see the other projects south, all of them have retail there. So as you're walking in the street, it's kind of a continuous experience
Okay. thank you.
On 10th Avenue.
on 10th Avenue and the corner of 10th and 28th in this case.
Yeah, that'll be the dark.
At
here.
the corner, yes.
Okay, I see. No, back up.
Yeah,
Previous slide,
corner right there.
previous slide.
It's the darker gray on the right.
Yeah, it's right
Yeah,
here.
go back to the previous slide a minute.
The rendering.
The rendering, yeah, I'm sorry.
Not letting me. 1 second. Sorry.
Ah,
You
here we
have-
go.
yeah.
Okay, that will be all the glass,
It hasn't been named.
Yeah,
that'll be all the glass fronting down there, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm
No.
sorry.
Oh, no, it's good. Thank you.
Okay, any more comments or questions? Anyone in the audience have a comment or question? Name and
My name
address,
is-
please.
My name is Jesse Jones and I live on 1082 East 21st Street. I believe these TOD zone starts at 17th.
It starts on 17, but on East 10th Avenue doesn't go all the way to Lejeune.
Right, okay. And so my question is, this huge building, what is the city planning about flooding? Because I know that some of the zoning has changed and you have to elevate the buildings, you know, above where the current ground is. And so the surrounding area is going to be affected with, you know, this higher ground, all this concrete. And, you know, are you going to redo the streets to accommodate for the
Yeah,
flooding?
they will.
And also, are you
They-
going to expand any of these streets to accommodate for this traffic?
Yes.
And there's a
Yeah.
lot of tractor trailers that travel through there, so it's
There
a
is-
complicated area. The streets are
There is
very
a
small.
there is a required 20 feet setback, and if you pass by 25th Avenue, 25th, and you will see one of the projects that is already, they have 2 or 3 stories up, and you will see the setback that they have. So on that setback, you will have like more space to accommodate the lanes, no more back out parking, that the back out parking interrupts the flow of the road. But the intent of the TOD is to have more people use transit, use the Tri-Rail and the Metro Rail that is there, combined with the freebie that is on an on-demand free service that the city has, and the city circulator on the June Road. So the idea is that maybe if you live there, you only have one car, or during the week to go to work, you don't use your car. So and that's the idea behind the plan.
Okay, and so this is East 10th Avenue towards the west. Now, what's going to happen with all those factories? Because a lot of trucks go through there. And, you know, there's a lot of body shops, there's a lot of traffic blockage. if
We
you've
are
been through there.
starting a master plan, a 2050 master plan. We are starting now. The kickoff is on September 11. So we will look at all the issues. We have some solutions in mind, because many of the traffic that you see there shouldn't be on the street, shouldn't be parking on the sidewalks. There's a lot of disorganized parking and use of the streets. So we will take care of that. The master plan includes like a vision plan, but also transportation plan and a transit plan. So we will look at all of that. And we will do a lot of public meetings in the parks, probably together with some events that are already scheduled. So everyone will be invited to participate. And we will also have a website, an interactive website that you can go to your blog and show things that you think that should be changed or improved. So it will be open for everyone's participation. The intent is to make the city better and have it prepared for the 2050.
Okay, another question, you mentioned a website about some of this planning and zoning. Do you have it up already?
Not
There's no
yet.
website, no webpage to
We are
view?
there's the city webpage where you can see the 2 plans, the market station TOD and the transfer station TOD. But the one of the master plan, it will be up very soon, probably by the end of September.
And how would we find out about that?
It will, if you go once in a while in the to the website, you will see it. If you come here, we will probably talk about that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council.
Anyone else? Anyone in the electronic audience have a comment or question? Closes the public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Iglesias, second by Mrs. Enriquez. Mr. D. Perez,
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez,
Yes.
Mr. Gamon,
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias,
Yes.
item has been approved.
Thank you all very much. Have a great night.
Item number 3, rezoning property from R1 One Family District to TOD Transit Oriented Development District. And variance permit to allow 0 feet step back above ground floor for buildings fronting 11th Avenue where 10 feet step back is required. Property is located at 1092 East 21st Street, Hialeah Zone, R1 One Family District. Applicant Cesar Mestre, Esquire.
Mr. Mestre. There you are.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Cesar Mester with offices at 8105 Northwest 155th Street. It's scary when they don't let me in and I'm here going and nobody can see me or anything.
Well, believe me, I saw you there earlier, so I know you're there. Good evening.
At least you don't have a cat face. You
Yeah.
remember that video? I will start my recommendation. The property in this application is located within the Hialeah Transfer Station Transit Oriented Development District, TOD overlay, and north of the Lea District. It is specifically located at the northwest intersection of East 11th Avenue and East 21st Street. The entire block where the property is located has low-density residential land use. The property on the north, owned by the FEC, has transportation and utilities land use and is improved with a freight forwarding terminal with a truck yard, loading docks, and warehouse adjacent to the railroad tracks. The properties to the east along East 11th Avenue have industrial land use. The subject property is improved with a home and has a long history of code violations, including building without permits, trash and litter, RV trailer, and illegal units. The applicant is before the city with a petition to change the zoning from R1 to TOD to be able to redevelop the 0.22 acre property in accordance to the TOD master plan. The site allows for a maximum density of 28 units. However, the proposed development includes 15 units. The development of the proposed 4-story building includes an entrance lobby and parking on the ground floor, 1 studio and 4 two-bedroom apartments on each of the upper floors. The requested 0 feet step back above the ground floor that the applicant is requesting shall be approved since it is a design consideration included in the regulations and planned for a 8-story building north of East 25th Street. So it is negligible for the proposed 4-story building at this location. Since the proposed zoning change propels the redevelopment envisioned in the TOD master plan, is compatible with the area, meets concurrency, and is consistent with the City of Hialeah comprehensive plan, it is recommended for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Sword.
Thank you. Cesar Mester on behalf of the owner. Online is also Mr. David Ortiz, one of the principals of the property owners. Mr. Ortiz has actually been the first person to actually finish some TOD projects along 24th Street and between East 8th Avenue and 9th Avenue, between 9th Avenue and 10th Avenue. And now he is here before you on this project. He has invited the council, and I know that some of staff have gone out to his buildings. They are very beautiful. They are 100% occupied. They have modern amenities to them, and he prides himself in having been grown up in Hialeah in attempting to get all his workers, all his subcontractors, everyone to have a connection or to be from the city of Hialeah. It's his way of giving back to our community. I have a presentation, and also this is going to look familiar to you because at your last meeting, you recommended approval for the land use amendment to TOD already. And yesterday, that went before the city council on first reading, and it passed. So it's set for second reading on the next council meeting. So I want you to keep that in mind. The slides, this is 1092 East 21st Street. Next slide. This is the property here. The one that you see going up and down is East 11th Avenue. The one that's directly to the north of it is the FEC railroad warehouses that they have there. And let me show you the next slide. This is actually the ordinance that created the transfer station, and it sets out the parameters. I wish you could have had this a couple of minutes ago to answer the gentleman's questions. And the next slide will show you exactly, this is the boundaries of the transfer station TOD. It's, as you can see where the arrow is exactly where our property is located, well within the transit-oriented overlay district. Next slide. Again, this is just showing you the property. As you can see, and as staff told you, it's presently residential, single family. To the east is warehouses, and to the north is warehouses. The railroad tracks are directly behind the warehouse in front of us. Next slide. Just another view of the same property. Next one. This is the FEC warehouse that's located directly across the street from where we are. So you look north from our property, and this is what you see. This is what's there. Next slide. This is what you see from our property looking east. This is 11th Avenue. This is obviously a mechanic body shop, some type of automobile shop. Next slide. And this is the house that's there now. This house has had a history of code violations. As a matter of fact, due to our last hearing before the P&Z board, we found out that there were some things going on there that we had to remedy. There were some folks living out there in a trailer. There were some folks living out there in a shed, multiple families living inside the house. And I know that Mr. Ortiz has taken care of that and has gotten rid of all of those nuisances and violations that were occurring because of the prior owner of the property. As staff told us, Deborah told you, we could, pursuant to the TOD density provisions, build 28 units, but we're only proposing 15. It's a 4-story building. There's 12 2-bedroom units and 3 studio units. We're not here for any type of parking variances. Next slide. And this is what the building would look like. It's very similar to other ones that this principal, Mr. Ortiz, has already built. They're very modern looking, very pretty, as I said before. The amenities inside, stainless steel appliances, high roofs, very, very pretty marble tops, granite tops for the kitchens and the counters. It's what we consider a step up from folks that are living in trailers, RVs, sheds, houses that are broken up. And it obviously goes well with the vision of the city and the TOD district. Next slide. This is another view. This would be what you see on 21st Street. So we are here to answer any questions. I don't know if Mr. Ortiz was allowed to come into the meeting. He's here for this one and for the next item as well, if they can let him in. But we're here to answer any questions you may have, and we respectfully ask you for a recommendation of approval.
Thank you, Mr. Mestre. Any comments or questions from the board?
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
I know you mentioned the parking. There's no
In
number of
the
parking.
TOD, you cannot ask for parking variances because the parking requirement is already reduced. So if you cannot meet the parking, you pay into a parking fund, and then we will improve the streets. We will do certain things to improve the parking in the area.
So once it's built, assuming we don't have the parking in the area, there's just no parking?
No, this has parking. But for example, if they are 1 space short or 2 spaces short, they pay into a fund. So with that fund, as we are already collecting some money, so we're going to develop some kind of I would say strategy, like, I don't want to say it because we don't know yet. So some kind of strategy to have more on-street parking available.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Member Enriquez also, I know it's hard sometimes, but we have to keep in mind that the whole purpose of the TOD is to reduce the dependency on cars that we're so used to. That's why you see some of the retail, the vertical going up on density vertically. It's going to create a synergy. They ask us to have wider sidewalks, so it's more walkable. The idea is that years from now, these folks are going to be close to public transit. The city is doing everything possible to provide them, that issue which we always had, the last mile first mile with the freebie and other things. I know yesterday they had a presentation in front of the council which had to do with the bus routes and what's coming online regarding public transportation. And everybody seems to be confident that we're heading in the right direction to move away from the dependency on our cars. So that just, we have to keep that in mind because there is less parking required for these buildings.
Thank you, Mr. Mestre. This is where the micro mobility devices come into play, right? Kind of.
Yes, or bikes or.
Right.
Also, this is very close to the Lea district.
Right.
So at one point, the TOD, the Lea district and the market station, they will all be together, no? As it happened in Winwood and town and the design center. So you have to give it time.
Thank you.
And if it keeps happening in blocks and blocks at a time, I think it's going to be faster sooner than later.
Mr. Ortiz, I see you there. Would you like to chime in or you just want to just take a back seat for now?
I think, Caesar has said pretty much everything. I think it's very important. We have a lot of meetings over the city.
One second, please, Mr. Ortiz. Just for the record, your name and address, and then we'll
David Ortiz.
take the wind off your sail, but.
David Ortiz, 100 South Point Drive, apartment 2702, Miami Beach, 33139.
Thank you. Please
I
continue.
think it's important that everybody understand that there's a lot of meetings that we need to make all this mass transit friendly. And we need to educate everyone in this area as to how to use mass transit as you do in New York or any other big city. This area is going to be urbanized vertically, and people need to walk to destinations or use that freebie application where they can get picked up by Teslas free of charge and go anywhere in Hialeah, especially to and from the metro station and the Tri-Rail station. So, it's important that we don't provide so much parking to fill all the parking spaces. We need to try to educate people to try to get rid of a car, save on the insurance, save on the mortgage payment, save on the gasoline, all those things. And I see it happening. I've attended a lot of meetings with Deborah to make the experience of going on Metro Rail much more pleasant, and Tri-Rail, so on and so forth. So, I'm very excited as a native of Hialeah that was born and raised there. I'm very excited about what's happening in this area. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All righty. Any more comments or questions from the board? Is there anyone in the audience that would like to chime in? Name and address for the record, please.
Jesse Jones, 1082 East 21st Street, right next to the property that is being shown on your screen.
Right.
Great idea. I used to use the Metro Rail when I worked in downtown in that area. Used to use it every morning. And the biggest problem is being on 1092, you're on the corner of East 11th Avenue. So you have to walk all the way to East 10th, then walk another 5 blocks and then come back another block to get to the train station where the Tri-Rail, Metro Rail meet. So what I did is I would go East 11th Avenue is cut off by the East Coast.
Yes.
So there's an opening on East 11th and 21st, kind of like there's no buildings. And I would just cut down the railroad tracks and walk on the side of the railroad track. So it's only like a short, because the blocks are rectangles. So they're short. So 4 blocks is really like maybe 1 or 2 blocks.
You have to call me and show me. You have to show me that. So maybe we can.
I used to every day. So I would cut up and down the railroad track and go to the Tri-Rail, and it was real quick and easy. Now they put up a fence because sometimes you get homeless or vagrant, whatever. But during the day, it's no problem. I don't think at night I would probably go there because it's not very well lighted. But if maybe something's done, but it was real simple going from East 21st Street and East 11th Avenue to the Tri-Rail. I mean, you could walk there in like 10 minutes or less. And if it's raining, it's not that big of a deal. But to walk a whole block across, and then the 2 blocks and then walk another block, that's like walking like half a mile compared to.
We'll check your shortcut and work on making
Okay.
it safer. If you can give your phone number to Chris that is seated behind you.
Okay,
we'll
okay,
do that.
thank you.
Give them your contact number and they'll look into making that shortcut into a official walkway, an official footpath or.
Or bike
shortcut.
path.
Won't happen from one day to the other, but we'll work on.
Hey, they can at least look into it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else in Zoom? Unless this is a part of the public hearing, what's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Iglesias, second by Mrs. Enriquez. Mr. D. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Ramon,
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez,
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias.
Yes.
Item has been approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 4, rezoning property from R1 One Family District to TOD Transit Oriented Development District. And variance permit to allow 13 feet front setback on East 30th Street, where 17 feet built to line setback is required. Property is located at 3011 East 8th Avenue, Hialeah zoned R1 One Family District. Applicant Cesar Mestre, Esquire.
Mr. Mister, please.
Cesar Mestre with offices at 8105 Northwest 155th Street, Miami Lakes, Florida.
Thank you, sir.
The property in this application is located at the northeast intersection of Lejeune Road and Mid 30th Street within the Hialeah Transfer Station Transit Oriented Development District overlay. The applicant is before the city with a petition to change the zoning from R1 to TOD to be able to redevelop the 0.28 acre property in accordance to the TOD master plan. The site allows for a maximum density of 35 units. However, the proposed development includes 18 units. The development of the proposed 4-story building includes an entrance lobby and parking on the ground floor and 6 two-bedroom apartments on each of the upper floors. Since the proposed rezoning propels the redevelopment envisioned in the TOD master plan, is compatible with the area, meets concurrency, and is consistent with the City of Hialeah comprehensive plan, it is recommended for approval.
Thank you. Mr. Mister?
Yes. If we can go straight to slide number 4, Yselis.
4?
Again, this is the TOD transfer station boundaries and the arrow points to where we are, this property. Next slide, please. This is the property that the house that's there now. You can see it's a corner lot on Lejeune. Next slide. This is the Lejeune side of the property. Next slide. And this is the proposed building pursuant to TOD. Again, this property as well came before you for land use amendment, and there was a recommendation of approval. This too was before the city council yesterday on first reading and was approved. It is set for second reading at the next council meeting of the 22nd. This one also, according to the TOD density, we could build 35 units. We are only proposing 18. Again, it has the larger walkways for the area. Again, the idea is to encourage mass transit, to discourage use of vehicles in order to implement this policy going forward. We respectfully ask you, obviously, this is the same owners of the prior project. Like I told you before, they concentrate on subcontractors from Hialeah. They put forth an incredible product that's modern, nice, and you can be proud to live in one of their units. It's actually very nice. It's like you're living, in Midtown and downtown. It's something really nice. And I know that that's what David wants to provide to the area. So based on this, we will respectfully ask you for a recommendation of approval.
Thank you, Mr. Mestre. Any comments or questions? Any comments or questions from the audience? Please come up. Need your name and address. I don't believe you were sworn in, were you?
No, I think I got here late.
Okay, name and address, please.
Naida Martinez, address is 874 East 31st Street.
Thank you. Raise your right hand. He'll swear you in.
Do you swear to tell the truth before this board?
I do.
Thank you. Please.
I have questions in reference to I get the part of minimizing transit and cars. But as it is right now, it's congested. When you go down 10th Avenue, the buildings that they're building there's only one street going down and there's another street coming this way. How is that going to work? If that building.
It's going to work when we take care of all as I explained earlier, there is a big problem with those industrial properties that a part of their business is done on the streets, using the streets. I have driven there and I have to get out to the car to ask them to move their trucks. So we are planning to implement some kind of a strategy to eliminate all that cars parked where they are not supposed to park, creating those problems.
And what about when the new cars that are coming in, what are we going to do with them?
The new cars that are coming in are parking inside their parking garage and will be choosing to leave 2 or 3 blocks from the station because they will be planning to use the transit. That's why this is called transit-oriented district. You live there because you work in downtown or you work at the airport. So instead of taking your car every day, you're going to use more transit.
Okay, that's in a realistic place. However, a lot of us drive cars and I get a lot of traffic right now as it is going down that street. And I know what cars you're talking about, but those lanes really don't bother anybody because nobody uses those lanes. So when all the new people come in, it's going to be a problem because I just went to Navarro the other day and granted the buildings are right there, but no one's going to be ready for the amount of people that are coming in. There's so many people that are going to move there. How does that work? And the school?
Those are mixed use buildings and there is all these projects go through concurrency. So concurrency is a review where the plans go to the streets department, they go to water and sewers, they go to DERM. So all the infrastructure is taken care of. If they need to improve the infrastructure, they will. And also there is a school concurrency. So they go to the school district and the schools states if there is availability or not. As of now, there is availability for all school grades. So we verify that before giving them the permit.
Okay, I mean,
and
they're not ready. Those ladies in Navarro are not ready for what's coming. I'll tell you that much.
Bueno,
I was just there.
Navarro will have to step
yeah,
up
but again, they're not ready.
Well,
nobody's ready for what's coming. It's a lot of people.
Yeah, I know. Well,
Navarro, it's
when they see
overly congested.
when they see their sales increase, they will put more employees.
The what?
When they see the sales increase, they will put more employees. So the Navarro ladies will be ready.
We're all on a budget.
Yeah, well.
And I will say that I live very close to the Metro Rail and I don't use that Metro Rail station. I used it when I worked in downtown.
Yes.
Only when my car would break down. But there's no way that you're going to go in a Metro Rail station when you have the luxury of having a car AC instead of having a share ride.
Well, believe me that if it takes you 1 hour or 1 hour and a half to go to downtown because you want to go to a museum or you want to go somewhere else, and you say, well, instead of going there and paying for the parking, it's better to take the Metro Rail. That will come.
And that's how I do it. However, on a daily basis, it doesn't work. Like I don't see all this with all the people and all the congestion that's already there. And we're not ready for that big.
Well, you will see the transit-oriented district have
and then this building that's going to be built right here in this corner. I mean, I don't have a lot of information, so if you could be kind enough to give me information in reference to this building that's gonna be, is it going to happen? Is it not gonna happen? How is that? work?
Well, this is going to happen. That's why they are here changing, getting the entitlements to make.
So
it
is that whole section of Hialeah going to be torn down and be buildings?
the same that I explained everyone. We have a plan. The plan is online. You can look it yourself or you can schedule a meeting at our office and I will be glad to show you and explain you the whole TOD.
To answer your question in a little bit more intelligent way,
Yes.
not that she's not intelligent, I mean, I have the highest respect for her, but down to earth, to the layman. The city comes up with long-term building plans. And I'm talking 30, 50 years in the future. Okay, so open your mind to that span of time and then answer your question that you asked. Eventually, yes, it will be developed, more densely. Is it going to happen tomorrow? Is it going to happen next month? Most likely not. But within the future, yes. And the city it's only going to keep growing.
No, it's fine.
I mean, they don't make dirt anymore. Well,
I mean, there, every now and then we get floods, but okay.
now floods. Okay. The developers are responsible for improving infrastructure, feeding their, affecting their properties, streets, drainage, that kind of thing, parking and sidewalks. They are responsible. They do assume that responsibility for that kind of improvement. Now, this one building, are they going to do the entire street? No. But they're definitely going to take a nice little chunk of the street and bring it up to standard. Does that, Mr. Mestre, am
I think you're correct, and if I could have Giselle's put the next slide. But I wanted to, I think it's Ms. Martinez.
Yes.
I am of the same mindset as you are, that I don't go to Wynwood. I don't use mass transit, but I think we are already programmed. And what's happening is the city and the state and the county are trying to change that, which is not an easy thing to do. And this is their
Population that lives in Hialeah.
this is their way of hoping people's mindset changes. My kids, my grandkids will probably go, well, these people crazy driving everywhere. Why did they have 3 cars? Why did they get? That's hopefully what's going to happen. That's all I can say. I can add.
We're gonna all be riding in battery cars, and we're all gonna be merry, and we're all gonna do the same thing. Nothing's gonna change.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good night.
Any more comments or questions? Mr. Jones? You're a popular man tonight. You know the drill, name and address.
Well, let's speak now or forever hold my peace.
There
My
you
name
go.
is Jesse Jones, 1083 East 21st Street.
Yes, sir.
Now, speaking on what the lady just spoke about, there's only a few through streets, 49th Street, East 25th, then there's 17th and 9th Street. And then you have to go down to like 8th Street, and then there's Okeechobee. So there's only like 6 throughways. So we have the Seaboard train that goes east-west, that's on 21st Street.
21st, 22nd.
Yeah, 22nd.
And then CSX.
And
between
then
10
you
and 11.
have the north-south, which is the tri-rail.
CSX, yeah.
Now, I have seen trains come in east-west at the same time. And we've had not only the tri-rail, but we get cargo
Yes, sir.
trains going north-south also. And I don't know where the tri-rail goes while that goes through. Because we have a huge train yard between 49th Street and 25th Street on the west side, on the Miami side of the railroad tracks.
That's what Amtrak allowed.
Amtrak, right.
Correct.
So there's really not too many through, and the biggest problem is these huge tractor trailers, 53-foot long with the huge rigs, and they're trying to get to that industrial area that's west of the tri-rail and south towards the Miami River. So that whole area, I mean, they have huge, I mean, some of those warehouses have 100 tractor trailers, they load them. There's like these little areas where they unload trains. A lot of trains drop their box carts, their box cars, and they unload those. The one across the street from the 1092 property, they drop box carts there and load there for the Seaboard Coastline. So what happens is when these trains go by, everything shuts down. Nobody moves. And then you got all these tractor trailers. The light turns, you can stay at a light 6, 7, 8 times. It's a big traffic jam during the day at certain times, usually in the evening. Forget about rush hour. So I think that that's something you guys really need to like experience for yourself. Traffic backs up east, west, north, south. It's a gridlock.
The main, and I know exactly what you're saying, because it has affected me for many, many years when I used to work down that way. CSX, which is the north-south tri-rail, which is what they share the line, even Amtrak, but Amtrak doesn't go past. You know, Amtrak has their own little station there. Okay. Those are typically short waits. The one that's the biggest problem is FEC, the east-west one, because that is the cargo train. That's the one that is long train. So I know exactly what you're saying. Yes, sir.
As soon as this evolves, we will see other things happening. Look what is happening in Aventura, that you have on Ives Dairy Road. You had always the railroad tracks stopping you and now they are building an overpass and you won't need to wait anymore. So
you've been a long
you bring
time.
density and then you try to find the solutions and the solutions will come.
You're a long time Hialeah citizen, resident. I know for a fact you remember Okeechobee, when the train used to come by and used to block the entire city.
Yeah.
It took a while. It was a lot of pain, but they did that tunnel. What a godsend.
Right.
I mean, you still get traffic, but still you don't have to, sit there, wait at that train's mercy. So.
Yes. And the 74th Street overpass.
Yes, sir.
That puts
Yes.
you on the other
And it
side.
was a
So
good excuse.
that's
for
good. Okay.
Yeah.
the trip.
Thank you very much, Councilman.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more comments or questions? David, you good, right?
I'm good. I'm glad that Caesar put the side from East 8th Avenue. Obviously, you can see the pedestrian sidewalk that we're putting in. It's like 13 feet wide. It has pavers. It has landscaping. We're waiting for all the pedestrian traffic, much more than cars.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, does that, is there anyone else? Okay, that closes the public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Iglesias, second by Mrs. Enriquez. Mr. Di Perez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramon?
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez?
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias?
Yes.
Item has been approved.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. Item number 5, rezoning property from R1 one-family district to R2 1 and 2 family residential district. A variance permit to allow a duplex on a substandard lot with frontage of 40 feet where 75 feet are required, an area of 4,000 square feet where 7,500 square feet are required. Allow 5 feet side setbacks where 7.5 feet are required, and allow 22.92 feet front setback where 30 feet are required. Property is located at 4448 East 10th Avenue, Lot 28, Hialeah zoned R1, one family district. Applicant Israel Pino.
Thank you. Boy, East 10th Avenue is popular tonight, huh? Name and address, please.
Israel Pino. I live at 175 West 58 Terrace, Hialeah, Florida. And I'm proposing R1 to R2.
Let's read it into the record and then I'll open the floor for you. You can say whatever's on your mind.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Do you have another rendering?
I have three.
Okay, do you want to put? Yeah, because that does not reflect what you have submitted.
Of course,
The front is not the same front that you show.
that's from the actual plans that I submitted to you.
Well, I read the recommendation and before the next meeting, you will need to work on these renderings. Because these renderings don't reflect what you showed. And also you're not doing a favor to yourself because they don't look good. To be honest with you, no, they don't look good. No, it's not
Okay.
exactly what
You
you
need to speak
proposed.
into the microphone.
Yeah. It's not what you proposed.
Do you have what I proposed?
Yes, I have it here.
Okay,
I see two doors, I see some stairs in the front, and I see two doors, one next to the other one, and I don't see that there.
and these were taken from the same plan that I
Well,
proposed to you.
someone did something wrong. But you can fix that. No, but yeah, this is not the place to discuss it, but this does not reflect what we have sent here. So you have to go back to the person that drew that to you. You can bring them to our
You're
office.
talking about the rendering?
Yes.
Uh,
Sometimes they do like an artistic interpretation, but if you have plans, they should reflect what you have on the plans. And
Okay.
also, as the front is supposed to be something improved where you put landscaping, where you put pavers. You will read the recommendation and you will understand why I'm
Okay.
telling you this. So the subject property includes two lots, lot 27 and lot 28, under address 4448 East 10th Avenue, and was granted a variance in 1976 under Ordinance 3086 to allow two living units in the property, including both lots. The property is located on the west side of East 10th Avenue, south of East 45th Street, and consists of a lot developed with a 1,700 square feet single-family residence on lot 27 that currently is an investment property, and an adjacent substandard platted lot, lot 28. Lot 28 is undeveloped and taxed as a vacant lot. However, it is used for storage of commercial vehicles. The east side of East 10th Avenue at this location has M1 zoning and is developed with warehouses, while the east side is residential with 8 properties zoned R1 and 5 properties zoned R2 under rezoning and variances granted in 2017 through Ordinance 2017-10 for the development of 5 two-story duplexes. If you can you go online and show those duplexes? Go to Google, go to this address, go to Google, and they are further south. The applicant is before the city with a proposal to develop a lot, lot 28 of the subject property with a new two-story duplex. To be able to develop the site as proposed, he's requesting rezoning from R1 to R2 and a variance permit to allow a duplex on a substandard lot with frontage of 40 feet and area of 4,000 square feet, where 75 feet frontage and 7,500 square feet are required, and variance to allow 5 feet side setbacks where 7.5 feet are required. The existing duplexes on the same block that you will show now in the screen have a very nice appearance. However, parking showed to be a problem where commercial vehicles are parked in the front parking spaces, in some cases encroaching into a landscape area, and where also cars tandem park and obstruct the public sidewalk. This presents a dilemma on the recommendation where current conditions are a testimony of what could go wrong. The R2 rezoning is consistent with existing zoning and the condition of the property fronting industrial sites and could be approved. The substandard lot and side setback would also be approved. However, since this will be a rental property, the applicant shall proffer that his lease contracts will include a clause stating that no commercial vehicles will be allowed to park on the properties parking spaces and that tandem parking and obstruction of the sidewalk is prohibited. In addition, Ordinance 3086 shall be repealed and rescinded. With this parking provision in place and enforcement by the city, the proposed duplex could be an addition to the city fabric, eliminating an unsightly illegal commercial parking site, adding revenue to tax roll, and providing additional living units. The recommendation is to approve with conditions. Here you see those duplexes that I mentioned in the report. Can you go further south? And you will see here how they abuse the parking. They have commercial, they are encroaching into the sidewalk. So that is I think across the street from industrial, it's a good thing to have duplexes, but when you have this kind of parking in the front, then you have these type of situations.
I remember these duplexes. They came before us.
Yeah, when you see them, they're ones that don't have cars in the front or have the regular, what you expect to have in a home, like a regular vehicle. Maybe some of those are from the properties across the street, because that happens also during the day, no?
You mean they use them during the day when there's nobody there?
No, the other way around.
Probably, yeah. No, I mean the industrial, the commercial properties.
They park on
they park there.
Yeah, because they're empty during the day. People are working, so they use the commercial. They're parking on the regular.
Exactly, yes. Yeah, you see what is happening. Across.
I know exactly what you're saying, yes.
This is the front. But this is looking from, so you have, this is the planting. And this is the property that I own next door.
This is the front over here looking from the other direction, right?
Exactly. One direction.
We need you to speak into the microphone, please.
I think that the artist, I think that the person that did the renderings didn't understand the plans.
I am sure.
Show me where the two entrance doors. You don't have the two entrance doors.
Because it's looking at an angle. I'm sorry, I'm not speaking to you. Speak loud enough. Because it's looking at an angle, you can't see it. So this is the house adjacent. And these are the doors. So when you look at this, it's actually extracted from the plans that I gave you on regular side.
It's wrong. It's done wrong. It's almost. So you have to fix it. I would make you fix that. And also you have to show in the front that you're going to improve the payment and everything. So bring the person that these videos.
You'll have to have this rendering for.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I need to capture your comments, please.
There's no stair. I mean, there's no entrance on this side.
Entrance on that side.
They just don't match the plans.
Actually, what I could do is I could go over to the city, meet with you, and then we pull out what I proposed, and I'm sure you'll see the same drawing, the last 3 pages.
I'm sure you will see that it's.
Okay.
I would suggest that we table the item.
Okay.
Okay, I kind of see what you're saying. That rendering over there with the one gentleman that's standing there
Right.
is looking at an angle, and I can see the one door there with the little yellow Volkswagen.
Right.
Now, this one right here in front of you is basically the same building, looking at it from the other side, and I can see the door here behind that red fence.
This is the parking right here. This is the parking right here.
Okay, now keep moving your finger over to the end.
Okay.
That's one door right there, right?
Exactly.
Okay, now move it back towards,
And
and there's the other door right there. So I do see what you're saying, that the angle, it's a little
Exactly.
little
But
crooked.
probably because it was blown up to the sides, and you can't see what.
Right, no, I do see what you're saying. I can visualize it. You
Yeah,
see,
you don't even need to print this. You can bring USB, and we plug it in the computer and we look at it in the
I
screens.
wish they had told me that before, but it's okay. I mean, you don't have to table because of this. I can just remove this. And this is what you have in your plans. And it's not the small plan, it's the last 3 pages. It's the only color pictures that you have on the plan.
And also what I don't see a site plan, here I see.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Okay, we are going to rely on the plans. What type of payment you're proposing on the front parking?
I can do the concrete or pavers, segmented concrete.
Okay. Deborah, what were the conditions you were proposing?
That since this will be a rental property, as they did in other properties, in the contract, you will have to include a clause explaining that they cannot tandem park and they cannot park commercial vehicles.
Agreed. Agreed.
Okay. Alex, are you okay with this?
You'll have to proffer that in a declaration of restrictions with my office, not just agree on the record.
Of course.
So that'll be in a written document that you'll get from my office.
Agreed.
Okay. If Deborah's okay with going off the plans, sure.
I'm going out on a limb here, but I can, to a point, see what he is saying, and the angle of the building, they're a little skewed, and I do see one front door here. And if you look at the very end, you see the notch on the wall there, which is right here on this one. You can see the other door. So again, it's the angle of the picture.
Yes.
I got you. So, okay. Comments or questions? Deborah, you're okay so far? Anyone in the audience have a comment or question on this item? Anyone in the electronic item, the electronic audience? Okay, close the part of the public hearing. Would you please be kind enough to just reiterate before we go?
So we are approving with the condition that the applicant will proffer that his lease contracts will include a clause stating that no commercial vehicles will be allowed to park in the property's parking spaces, and that tandem parking and obstruction of the sidewalk is prohibited.
You do know what tandem parking is?
Yes.
One after the other.
Exactly.
Okay. You agree with that?
And he'll write it
The
up.
law department enlighten you as to coming in and filling out the proper paperwork?
No objections.
Then
Approve with conditions.
there you go.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Ramon. Second by Mrs. Enriquez. Mr. Di Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Ramon,
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias,
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez.
Yes.
Item has been approved with conditions.
Thank you.
My suggestion to you would be when if you're not going to redo these renderings,
No, my suggestion to you is to email me those renderings and we will help you out.
I'm sorry?
Email me those renderings and we will help you out.
Okay, but these renderings are actually in the plans.
I know, well, I know, but send me the electronic thing, send it
Okay,
to me.
so
electronic
PDF,
PDF,
Okay.
and we will help you out to make them better.
beautiful, thank you.
Okay.
just remember, this little confusion that we're going through here,
Is brought
It can
on
blow up.
because
it can blow up. It can be a lot larger. So
Thank you.
cover yourself. Thank you. All right, so we have an approval, correct?
With condition.
With condition.
With condition, yes.
Item number 6. Ordinance of the mayor and the city council of the city of Hialeah, Florida, amending the Hialeah Code Ordinances, Chapter 98, entitled zoning, amending Section 98-2200, parking commercial vehicles, recreational vehicles, boats, or vessels on property zoned residential. Regulating the placement and number of recreational vehicles, vessels, and boats permitted on property zoned residential. Repealing all ordinances or parts of the ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date. Oh, actually, this item is a table.
It's a table item. It needs to be removed from table. Can we get a motion to remove?
And we have a presentation.
Motion to remove the item from table?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Iglesias, second by Mrs. Enrique. Mr. Amon,
Yes.
Mr. D. Perez,
To remove, yes.
Mrs. Enrique,
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias,
Yes.
item has been removed from table.
So we have a presentation to explain you exactly what is the proposal.
Okay.
Okay.
Name
Good
it.
afternoon, board. Christopher Borges, 501 Palm Avenue on behalf of Planning and Zoning. So it's bringing back the tabled item for the ordinance that we are trying to come in agreement with on behalf of parking for commercial vehicles, recreational vehicles, boats, or vessels on property zones residential. So boat or vessel is synonymous with boat as reference of the state constitution and includes every description of watercraft, barge, and airboat used or capable of being used as means of transportation on water, with a few examples on the screen. And then going into recreational vehicles, a truck, bus, trailer, semi-trailer, truck, tractor, semi-trailer, combination or recreational unit primarily designed as temporary living quarters, which either has its own motive power or is mounted on or drawn by another vehicle or any other vehicle item using wheels and being operated on the roads located within the city, which is used to transport persons or property and is propelled by other than muscular property provided. However, that term vehicle does not include mopeds, traction engines, road rollers, or vehicles which run only upon track, with a few examples for recreational vehicles below. Speaking on behalf of commercial vehicles, parking of commercial vehicles, recreational vehicles, boats, or vessels shall be prohibited on property developed as duplex, zero lot line, or multifamily as well. So parking of recreational vehicles on property zoned residential. A recreational vehicle not exceeding 24 feet in length will be allowed to park in either side yard of property zoned residential, provided the such residential vehicle is parked no closer than 3 feet from the side of the property lines. If you see the infograph, the highlighted pink portion would be the area that is allowable for you to park your recreational vehicle or vessel. The side yard refers to the area between the side property line and the residence, spanning from the front property line to the rear wall of the main residence. This includes any additional features the main residence may have, such as aluminum terraces or patios. At all times, a recreational vehicle shall have current license plates and registration. And a recreational vehicle while parked on property zoned residential shall not be occupied or used for living, sleeping, or storage, with some examples. The one on the left is an actual photo that I took myself.
It's a backyard, I won't say the street, it's a backyard on a residential property with 2 RVs that you can see everything is open, someone is living there.
The one on the left or the one on the right?
The one on the left.
Yeah, the one on the right is
Not in
is an
the
extreme.
trailer park.
Right.
The route we are going is creating trailer parks inside in a single.
Right.
That's why the ordinance.
So a property owner, tenant, or person in possession or control of the property shall provide access to the property upon request for the city inspector to conduct an inspection to determine the location of a parked recreational vehicle. Failure to provide access for an on-site inspection upon reasonable notice is a violation on this section. No property owner shall park or allow to be parked more than one recreational vehicle on a property zoned residential. So only one recreational vehicle per property. All recreational vehicles parked on property zoned residential shall obtain the appropriate registration from the city of Hialeah and shall conspicuously display the registration on the vehicle. Now addressing boats and vessels. A boat or vessel is not to exceed 24 feet in length, which will be allowed to park in the side yard within the residential zone property, providing that the boat or vessel is parked no closer than 3 feet from the side property lines. The boat or vessel shall be stored on a trailer at all times and to be practicable, screened from the view from the street and adjacent properties. Once again, as on the previous slide, the allowable areas where you would be allowed to park the boat. A boat, vessel, or trailer shall not be parked or stored on public property, including but not limited to the right-of-way, swell area, roundabout, or sidewalk. The bottom photo, you could see they actually parked the boat on the sidewalk, as well as their pickup trucks. And that was a photo I took myself of that property. At all times, a boat trailer shall have current license plates and registration. And a boat or vessel while parked on property zoned residential shall not be occupied or used for living, sleeping, or storage. And then no property owner shall park or allowed to be parked more than one boat or vessel on a property zoned residential. All boats or vessels parked on property zoned residential shall obtain the appropriate registration from the city of Hialeah and shall conspicuously display the registration on the boat or vessel. And that concludes my presentation. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask.
I do have a couple of questions for you. This is pretty much the same ordinance that was brought up at the last meeting, but it has been enhanced. See, now we can visualize what it was that was brought up. It's a lot more palatable, okay, than what we were presented with last time, because we were just thrown at us. I do have two questions. What is this vehicle registration or permit or so that I'm looking at right here that you are required?
Well, that one is an example, but we
Right.
are going to be in accordance with the licensing department. It's not out of profit. It would just be out of, what is it, like somewhat bookkeeping, keeping track of the fact that these.
The specifics of how we're going to obtain the registration and the cost of the registration haven't been fully ironed out at the moment. The goal is that it will be available for inspection, knowing that you have the registration on the vehicle conspicuously displayed will prove to a code enforcement officer or fire rescue officer or a fire marshal that the vehicle has been properly inspected, registered with the city, and is legally allowed to be on the property.
So if I understand you correctly, this will be, correct me if I'm wrong, but this will be like a permit, a city permit, if you will, other than the usual tag, the registration for the state of Florida.
It would be akin to a permit, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you gonna have to pay a yearly for that every 2 years, or it's just what you're doing is just you're checking in with the city and letting them know that you're gonna have a boat or the trailer?
Yes, sir. It will be on a yearly basis that a owner of a vehicle or a recreational vehicle or a boat or vessel will need to come to the city to renew the registration. It will be akin to registering your vehicle on a yearly basis.
Will that be any charge on that, or it's just?
It hasn't been discussed at the moment if there will be a charge or not. However, if there is a charge, it will probably most likely be a nominal fee.
Is to be able to
Control.
have some informants and some control. We have the same thing with the extended family living quarter, that you can have an additional living unit for a family member connected to your house. So when you get that, we go every year, we inspect the house and we make sure that what was proffered to us is what is happening in that place. So we will go, for example, to look at Diego's RV. If Diego has his extended family living there, well, then we have a problem. If Diego has his RV there that is just there waiting for him to go on a trip the next Saturday, well, that's fine.
Will this be something that we can go ahead and do online? That way we don't have to come to the city for something like this, or?
We don't know the implementation. It will be like an easy thing, yes.
Yeah, because, I mean, we're already paying
We'll
for,
make it easy. It's a nominal fee, as he says.
We don't intend for this to be a burdensome process or a costly process.
Okay.
We intend for it to just be an awareness for our officers in the city to be aware that the vehicle or the vessel has been registered with the city.
Yeah,
Okay.
don't look it as I will have to pay $50 per year for my boat. Look it as this will prevent my neighbors on the side of my house to have two RVs on their lots and rent them through Airbnb
I
and have
understand.
parties and all that. So look
I
at
understand.
what can go wrong.
Yeah,
Because if everything goes right, nothing will happen.
correct.
Okay, bring it up a little bit. Right there. Okay. Question number 2. The physical length of the vehicle.
Sure.
Vessel, vehicle, what have you, RV, boat. I'm not on board with a 24-foot maximum length. Right here, case in point, you talk about a regular RV. Now, you look in the back, it's not depicted here very good, but your typical RV would have at least a foot extra after the actual body of the RV. You have the bumper, then you usually have the spare tire. So that right there gives you an extra foot of overall distance. You look at the front end of the RV, where the A-frame is, where the hitch is. Look at it closely, you will see the propane tanks. You notice where the RV body ends, then you have a protrusion of at least 4 or 5 feet, depending upon the model or the unit. My issue is that we're proposing maximum of 24 foot. You take the tongue, you take the A-frame of the RV, let's make a round number, 4 foot. You take the back end of the RV, another foot. So right there, you have 5 feet of RV, of vehicle, if you will, that it's unused. It's there, but it's not livable. So that, to comply with your 24-foot tip to tip, you're saying that the box, living quarters, cannot be more than 16, 17 foot. That is, it's unrealistic.
Well, how do you fit on a 20-foot setback? That is what we ask for a home, a 20-foot setback. How do you fit something larger? Encroaching into, in some occasions, you have a big house, you have a big side yard. So if it's bigger, it doesn't matter. But in many other occasions, you don't have. So you don't, if you don't
Yes.
put a limit that is related to the side of the property, then there's nothing we can
Okay,
do. So we
okay,
have to go to that.
I'm
Then there are like the particular situations. That is why we're going to have the inspection, but we have to set the standard.
okay. No,
That is the
I'm
standard.
with you. I'm with you. And I also get that this ordinance, the meat and potatoes of the main reason for this ordinance. Let's face it.
To
We
prevent
have
this happening.
We have an abusive situation with some individuals out there that are in fact renting these RVs and boats, what have you. They're renting them as extra living units. That is an epidemic that we have. We need to get rid of that.
Exactly.
Okay,
That's the
now,
purpose of the
that you have my blessings on that. Now, back up a little bit with the setbacks. Typically, okay, you better than anybody here know what the setbacks are. But your typical front setback from a house, from the sidewalk to the actual wall, to the actual structure of the house, in the front is typically 30 feet. Typically,
Well, the
Except-
requirement is 20.
except when you have, let me talk about my situation. From my wall to the sidewalk is 30 feet, except where my porch is, which is
Let-
20, which is
Let
20
me
feet.
explain you. We won't go into the details of each particular situation. I think we will set up the limit and there you can leave there some room for like oversized lots. And then we'll work case by case, and that's why we're going to have the inspection. But for the purpose of the ordinance, this is what we have to put, because you have 30 feet setback, you're lucky, you have an oversized setback, but you see what is coming
Yes.
here.
And
Substandard
may I?
lots, everything very tight, so we have to set the.
Okay.
Yes.
And I understand exactly what Diego says. Me, myself, I'm a personal owner of a boat. And yes, my boat is at 23 feet, correct? 23 foot. So there's no way
Go to
a
the
23-foot boat, you have to have the tongue on the front to be able to connect to the truck.
Well, that's why I'm saying,
There's,
each case goes by each case. If
Okay.
you have a 50,
Blow
a
up the little-
50, a lot on a substandard, a house on a substandard lot, and you have 20 feet, well, you will need to realize
Yes.
that you cannot have that boat. If you have that boat that you say
Go to jet ski.
23 feet, 25 feet, and you have room
right
in your home where there will be some flexibility there on oversized lot. But we have to set up the standard with what the typical thing that come here, that is substandard lot, 20 feet setback, and everyone goes up to there. No one gives you any, they don't give you an extra parking spaces, they don't give you 2 or 10 feet. So then he will put some language there to add that, but we have
I
to
think
set-
we should have somewhere where there is a gray line, there was some type of, because if not, I mean, it's.
So continuing off of what Ms. Sorch mentioned, the city, I don't intend to nitpick on a foot or 6 inches or a foot and a half. The point of this ordinance is to clean up the city and to enforce safety measures be taken against people who have multiple RVs and boats in their yard. I don't intend for the city to go on a witch hunt for people who are acting appropriately, who have 1 RV or 1 boat in their yard and cause a problem. It's not our intention to disturb people who have behaved good and acted well throughout the city and who have the appearance of their home presentable.
Correct.
This ordinance, the way it's written, is written in stone as it stands today. The board here does not have the authority or the power to change anything in this ordinance. You'll have to vote today in the affirmative or in the denial on what you believe this ordinance to be on its face. I will say that if you do have an issue with it, you are each citizens and residents of the city of Hialeah, you can come to the first reading and discuss your concerns with the council members. In my experience, these kind of ordinances, this is not the final version of the ordinance because the ordinance can always change from first to second reading. When residents do come and express their concerns, I have seen, flexibility in the writing of the ordinance. So I would recommend if you have an issue that you come to the city council and express that issue. However, as it stands today, this is the way the ordinance is written. It cannot change and it will not change, and it needs to be voted on tonight.
Okay, and I am 99% with you. Okay, me personally, 99% I agree with what you're saying. My only question, my only suggestion that I might throw at you is the overall length that was proposed. And I know you just said that you're not going to be nitpicking a couple of inches, a foot. Okay. I personally feel that 24 foot should be reconsidered, possibly, again, because of the given circumstances of the A-frame on an RV and the fact that a boat, especially if it's an outboard engine, will protrude further than the actual body of the boat, okay? I believe that 24-foot should be brought up to 28-foot, okay? Granted, as Deborah said, some of the setbacks of 20 feet, that kind of throws a monkey wrench in there. But again, that's my opinion. I would vote for this ordinance, requesting a variance, requesting a 28-foot length. And if that can be
I think we cannot put that in there.
Uh,
I think
It's not up to us. And I understand and I sympathize with your position. And it's a suggestion that needs to be made to the policymakers. I'm not a decision maker. I'm not a policymaker. So your suggestion would be better off with the city council, not with me. I just write the ordinance. It's not my policymaking decision.
But I understand you 100%, but it is our position here, okay, as mute as it might be, okay, it is our position here to bring forth ideas, suggestions, recommendations. Will they be taken under consideration by the powers that be? That remains to be seen, but I feel my obligation is to bring it to light. And then, let it.
Understood, Mr. Chairman. And I, like I said, I think your opinion is highly valuable if you would come to the city council and make that argument. And if you, like I said, you should vote on how you feel tonight, whether it be an approval or denial, and allow this to go to the city council so we can move forward with the ordinance if need be edited.
Alex, I said my piece. That's my only concern. I'm 99% with this ordinance. I agree that we need to clean this up. We have a situation that needs attention. And this basically will put some teeth into the current laws that we have.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so I've said my piece. Please.
I second Diego on that. It should be a consideration on the length. If somebody can put an input on that, I will.
Understood, Mr. Iglesias.
Other than that, I have no other problems,
You're the deciding vote, so.
No, you're not voting.
I know,
You're expressing your opinion.
Yeah.
Someone will need to put a motion and then another one will need to second.
Questions, suggestions, whatever. I know these folks had a long night last night and they want to go home.
I believe, in my opinion, this infringes on people's rights to own a boat and an RV if they want. Not everybody can afford to rent at a marina or at another parking lot, especially people from Hialeah, which are mostly working class people. So I agree that we need to clean up the city, 100% agree, but I don't know if this is the right solution for that.
Thank you, Ms. Enriquez. I just want to clarify, this is not infringing on anybody's constitutional right. There is no right to have an RV or a boat in your yard. I would encourage you to look at the other cities in Miami-Dade County. It would be a good tool. When I drafted this ordinance, I kind of went in between the two extremes. One extreme being Coral Gables, which barely allows a pickup truck in the front yard, and the other extreme, no offense, being Hialeah. So those are the two extremes that we have in Miami-Dade County. One that is very, very stringent, and then Hialeah that has really never had rules to regulate. So I tried as best as I could to go in the middle. The city does understand the strain this is going to put on its residents, but we feel that after weighing both sides, this is in the best interest of the city and the people that live here.
Yeah, well, the existing ordinance is a little liberal, to
Yes.
say the least.
Yes.
To say the least, and it does need to be reined in some, and like I said, I'm 99% with you on that.
Well, you can vote to deny. We need a vote.
Yeah.
I would, any vote, I understand.
I know, this needs to go forward.
Yes, sir.
All right, Laz, would you like to just chime in or?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. You know what I mean, Diego? It's just I mean, from the looks of it, what they're trying to do is just pretty much stop the living, people living inside, the trailer and stuff like that. I mean, there's people that work hard, you know what I mean? There's people that are retired and I think they deserve, like why not buy a boat or a trailer, you know what I mean? Or themselves an RV, you know what I mean? And then they travel like yourself, I mean, if it's what they're saying, you know what I mean? That it's just what they're trying to avoid is an oversized boat parked on the sidewalk, you know what I mean? And to stop people from living in trailers, and I'm all for that, you know what I mean? I just want to make sure that which I know it is, it's written there, so I mean, whatever's for the good for the city, you know what I mean? Because it is out of hand, you know what I mean? There is, and I'm sure they're not trying to hurt, they're not gonna try to hurt. They're not trying to hurt the people doing the right thing and have everything by the book, you know what I mean? So.
Are we the final decision makers, or this is,
No.
it's gonna go to city
No, ma'am.
council and they'll decide?
This is a recommending board. This would just be a recommendation to the city council. And that's why I said this recommendation will go to the city council, and there they determine whether or not the ordinance needs to be edited before second reading.
May I-
Yes, sir.
If there's something that we can vote instead of a yes or a no, say approve with conditions.
No, sir, this is an ordinance.
There's no-
No, sir.
That's what.
It's not like a land use amendment or a zoning amendment. I understand how hard it is.
Well, it's.
In the council meeting, they could put those, they could change
They will probably tweak it. They will probably-
We don't know, but it happens, it does happen that ordinances go to council, and at council that, there's a public outcry or there's new data that comes in at a meeting that we decide, hey, between now and second reading, we'd like to change certain things in the ordinance.
Again, Alex,
I understand, sir.
My main concern is the proposed length. If we can touch that subject, like I said, I'm 99% there. I agree. We need to clean the city. We need to get rid of all these abusers. We need to get rid of all this. Come on, it's our city. We need to look after it.
And the only way that the length portion of this will be amended will be if it goes to city council. It cannot be amended by this board.
Okay. All right, folks. If you have, you heard them. We're.
Like you said,
we
we just
can-
said it right now. We have to vote
we can
yes or
either-
no. And it's the only way we can go ahead and go to the next level.
Yeah.
They can go ahead, hopefully they'll reconsider the length of this. If not, it will be I don't know how many, I guess Hialeah will stay without boats. Nobody will be able to own a boat.
It looks like they're just worrying about people living in these stuff, and that's their main concern. And I think maybe at the city, at the city meeting, enough people get up there and say, that, you gotta add a couple of inches, a couple of feet to this. I don't see why they won't take it into consideration, because now let's say you're gonna have to get rid of your boat and you really do have the space for it. You're not breaking the
On the
setback.
side of the house,
setback,
it's
you're
nothing-
not, I don't see why there's certain houses in Hialeah that fits perfectly without infringing.
I mean, we have to consider too, there's houses in Hialeah that don't have sides. So they have their boat in the back and now they'll have to get rid of their boat or they're getting in trouble. So I saw there you get fined up to $500 a day. You know, as long as you have that there and you don't fix the problem. So, I mean, it can't be applied equally, which we know that most laws, they can't really be applied equally. But Hialeah was built, you know, willy-nilly, in my opinion, so it can't be applied for everybody. Not everybody has a side. My neighborhood in particular, only the corner houses have sides. All the other houses only have front and back.
Understood,
And there's
ma'am.
people with boats
I understand.
and trucks.
Yeah,
and
because you
everything.
have narrow,
Yeah,
you have narrow
they're
lots,
like, yeah, they're right attached to each other, basically.
Because they're trying to avoid it being parked on duplex, zero lot line or multifamily,
Mhm.
not single family. See what I mean? So it's more on like that project that the young man right before this, that's what they're trying to avoid where.
Oh, no, it does
That-
not, it does not
that's a
belong.
multifamily
Right.
home. So this is not gonna.
Any of these vehicles do not belong in the previous application with that, with that structure.
Well, let's hope that everything will be considered.
Okay, well, then taking Alex's suggestion will be not only are we board members, not only are
We're
we city
citizens.
officials, we are citizens
We're affected by
Okay.
this decision too.
that are affected by this. We're also taxpayers, property owners, some of us multiple property owners.
Understood, Mr. Chairman.
And there's one thing that I want to bring up,
Yes, sir.
with all your respect,
Yes, sir.
even if you would like to put a boat at a marina right now, the
can't.
waiting is about 4 to 5 years.
I'm very well aware, sir.
And please, if you can go ahead and make a note of that and let the upper so they can know exactly what's going on. Because
will-
me,
I will.
myself, I've been trying. There's no spaces in the marina.
I'm very well aware and I
The
will.
waiting is about for 4 to 5 years.
Yes, sir. I will
Thank you.
let the policymakers know the concerns of this
It's not
board.
as easy as, okay, I had no choice. Let me go to a marina. RVs, also the same problem. There's no spaces available to be able to have them. I wish it would be so easy. It's a lot easier than getting up early. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to be able to go to the marina, to be able to get a spaces, because at 7:30 in the morning, they're already closed. You
Understood.
cannot dock the boat.
Yes, sir.
So,
I understand.
thank you. Appreciate
I
it.
will make all your concerns available to the policymakers and let them know what you wish your edits to be for this ordinance.
The reality of what we're speaking of.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate it.
please voice our opinion that for the most part, we're all in favor. It's just little
Yes.
details. But,
The only
Yes, sir.
thing that I'm looking at is the size, the length.
length.
Other
Understood.
than that, I'm with you
Understood.
and with the lawmakers.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
All right,
You gotta be
so,
honest.
Because if the property has enough space, like we're talking about, there's houses that do got enough space to fit a 28-foot, 30-foot boat without a problem at all. You know what I mean? It's just.
well, that's what I'm saying, because we're limiting the
And it says.
the
it says-
overall
notice how it
length.
says they want to see that the
Yeah.
trailer is registered, you know, what they're trying to do is just.
No,
so you
that's-
don't have
And
a junk-
and that's very
You
understandable.
don't, you don't,
I
that
agree
your
with-
house is not a junkyard, you know what I mean?
That's
Or a
perfectly-
storage.
yeah.
You get me? Like everything's up to date, you know what I mean? It's
And
just-
I agree with it, because if you have a car right now and you don't have a tag on it, the first thing they do is suspend your license. It's gotta be out of there.
Right.
So I understand, and yes, I agree with you.
That's the
Have to
concern.
have a license, you should have a permit, but once again,
I'll be giving a presentation at the city council meeting about this ordinance, and I will be happy to pass along your suggestions
really
and your
appreciate it.
concerns.
Not for
I think-
us, I got many friends that they are gonna be affected with and. in
I think
general.
I think the little permit, it's a little cumbersome, but it's doable. You know, I
Understood, Mr.
mean,
Chairman.
it's doable. And I do know for a fact that this ordinance does affect several council members.
We are very aware that it not only affects council members, members of this board, members or employees of the city, but very many people that live in the city. We're aware, we understand. And as I said, we're here to work with you. Our goal is not to go around and nitpick what the difference between 24 feet and 26 feet. I don't see anybody from the code enforcement decision walking around with a ruler or a tape measure going boat to boat. That's not the goal of this ordinance. That's not the goal of the city. The goal of the city is to make things look better, make things safer, and make sure that all these are registered and not being lived in.
Legally.
Correct.
Thank you. I
Okay,
appreciate it.
so you all know the drill, so we need a motion.
I believe because of the way it's written and we want it to be changed, I would motion to deny.
Can we get a second? Now, mind you,
I'm sorry, sir. There's a motion on the floor pending. If we don't have a second, the motion dies. We cannot go into conversation until that happens. If there's no second, then the motion fails.
so there's a motion on the floor to deny. Do we have a second?
The motion fails.
Fails. Okay.
Do we have would you like to continue the conversation before another motion is
No,
made, Mr. Chairman?
I was gonna say that, mind you, that it doesn't, at this point, it doesn't matter whether it's approved or denied, it's outside our control.
No, sir, it matters. A recommendation from this board always matters.
I believe a motion of denial would kind of open city council's eyes and they'll listen.
The motion has failed. If you can always make that motion again, Ms. Henriquez, and
Motion to deny.
I'll second that motion.
the clerk will call the roll.
Okay, so motion to deny by Mrs. Enriquez, second by Mr. Iglesias. Mr. Di Perez,
To deny, yes.
Mr. Amon,
I would like for this to go to the city council, so yes.
Mr. Iglesias,
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez,
Yes.
motion passed. So item is denied.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
How does that work now? It will go to Councilman?
So your recommendation of denial will go to the council. The council will have this on for first reading on the first meeting in September. They have I'm sorry, it won't be on first reading. It will be on for them to determine whether they uphold this board's denial or they overturn this board's denial. And then if they overturn this board's denial, the ordinance will be on for first reading in the second meeting in September. If they uphold the denial, then the ordinance would die at that meeting, but it is not on for first reading. It is now on for a discussion of whether they uphold or overturn the denial.
Now, I thought that when there's a vote with the council, I mean, when an item comes up to council, it's first reading, they just read it, talk amongst themselves. There is no public hearing, there's no public input.
It won't be first reading, Mr. Chairman.
It will be the consideration of the denial,
Right.
they uphold the denial or they override the denial.
If this board had approved the ordinance as written, it would be on for first reading. Once it's on for first reading, as you stated correctly, it is not open to public comment. It is just discussed among staff and the council. but that is not the case in the next meeting in September. It will be on for consideration to overturn the denial of this board.
Then at that time, it will be open for public comments.
It could be. That's at the discretion of Madam President at the time of the council meeting.
And with all your respect.
Yes, sir.
If it matters, maybe you can bring it up between them. And we're only looking at 99%
Yeah.
agreeing with, it's just that,
Now it's already on their funds.
no, I understand.
I will
But
let I will
for-
let them know of
if-
your concerns.
if somebody in between them cares, it's very, very close to adjust. It's just the length. That's all we're talking
But
about.
now you cannot go back. Now
No, I understand. No, I'm standing for what I vote.
What you're doing is that you're delaying everything one more reading, because it will go to the next council meeting in August. Now they will determine if they will uphold the denial or they will override. If it overrides, the first reading will be in September.
Mhm.
If today you approve, you would have approved, then it would have gone to the first reading, they would discuss it, and then by the first meeting in September, they will have a solution. Now, there won't be solution until the second meeting.
What Ms. Sorge is saying is either way, this is gonna move forward more than likely. An approval would just move it forward more quickly and would be able to come to some sort of conclusion more quickly. As I said, these ordinances are not set in stone. I don't see nobody speaking on it. I see a lot of people coming to the city council meeting and expressing their concerns. And I do believe that there is flexibility. I truly believe that there's flexibility in this ordinance to move in the direction that you seek. That is my opinion.
Thank you. You have enlightened us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Dare I say you giving us a ray of hope?
Well, I'm.
I know.
I can only hope, but at this point, it will not be on for first reading.
Diego.
It's still open for discussion. This matter is still open for discussion.
We just need to make sure that we come to the meeting. Okay, all right, we have one more item. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Miscellaneous items not requiring advertising. Item number 7, final plat of Midpoint Logistics.
Well, this is a final plat of one of the industrial properties on the southwest corner of the annexation area, one of the first ones that is almost finished. The warehouses are there. So they are coming here to complete the subdivision process. So all the departments reviewed it, our surveyor reviewed it, there are no objections, so the recommendation is approval.
Okay. Comments or questions? I see you patiently sitting there waiting. Go ahead and just.
Good evening, Alessandria Centerman with Law Offices located at 701 Brickell Avenue. I'm just here for any questions if you guys have any.
Okay, thank you. Comments or questions? Anyone in the anyone in the audience? Anyone in the electronic audience? All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Enriquez, second by Mr. Ramon. Mr. D. Perez,
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez,
Yes.
Mr. Ramon,
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias.
Yes.
Item has been approved.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Right.
Item number 8, old business.
Well, it's all business because it just passed, but if you want, you can reconsider your motion, and if you approve it, you can come to the council meeting, you can still discuss with the meeting, and you will be saving 2 weeks, so we will be taking care of this urgent matter quicker. So it's at your discretion, but I'm just giving you the suggestion.
Up to you all. So basically, if I understand you correctly, if we reconsider the motion,
And you and you
bring it up again,
bring it up again.
You can go ahead, bring it up again.
we would go ahead, it will go ahead and speed up the process.
Yeah,
The-
and we'll
the-
just come to the meeting.
The correct procedure for that would be, for one of you to make a motion to reconsider. The motion would need to be seconded, and the, seconded motion would have to be voted, on a majority of quorum. If that were to be the case and that would move forward, at that point, a motion would have to be made, to approve or deny.
Motion to be reconsidered.
I'm sorry, let me think this through for a second.
Motion to reconsider item 6.
1 second.
I see the gears turning.
Well, you said this, what was the vote? 4-0?
4-0.
4-0.
Okay, that's fine. You can make that motion, sir.
Okay. Motion to reconsider.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Iglesias, second by Mrs. Enriquez. Mr. D. Perez,
I would reconsider it.
Mr. Amon,
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias,
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. Item number 6 is to be reconsidered.
Okay, now we need a motion to either yay or nay.
Motion to approve.
Second that motion.
Motion by Mr. Gamon, second by Mr. Iglesias. Mr. D. Perez,
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez,
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias,
Yes.
Mr. Amon.
Yes.
Item number 6 has been approved.
Okay, now that we,
Now the item will be on for first reading on the first meeting, on the second meeting in August.
so first reading will not be open for comments.
Correct, sir.
Thank you.
But remember that is a,
Option, that's
it's up to the president of the
Discretion,
council, sir.
correct.
But you will be able to listen to the council members and maybe they have.
Oh, we'll be here.
Yeah,
Oh,
maybe,
we'll be
maybe
here.
you can go on Zoom if you don't want to. come.
Oh, no.
But they will probably have the same concerns that you have.
I'll be here.
But
We'll
at
be here.
least they will be able to discuss and make a decision and.
And you can be here on behalf of the planning and zoning board.
Yeah.
Okay, that was, see, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yes, sir.
Because if and when we come up to make comments, do we identify ourselves as individuals or as part of the planning?
I would do both. What gives you standing is that you're a citizen of the city. That gives you initial standing to speak on the item. But you know, of course, they would want to know that you're on the planning and zoning board and your concerns and the reasons why you approve this ordinance to move forward, but your concerns regarding the specifics of it.
Gotcha.
But again, remember, it's all at the discretion of the Madam President.
And speaking also in behalf of the citizen of Hialeah,
Yes, sir.
on their behalf.
Correct.
Okay, new business, old business?
Item number 9, new business.
No
Well,
business?
as I mentioned before, we are starting the master plan. We are in touch with the group. We didn't sign the contract yet, but it was approved by the city council. So on September 11, we're going to put all the team into a bus and we're going to go around the city to give a tour to them. And then they will start working and they will have different events. You will all be invited to events, since in talking with the different council members, they realized that each neighborhood in the city is defined by the park that it has. Probably the parks will be the center of the sections that we will be analyzing, and all the events that we're going to do, like public events, will be in the parks.
Okay. Comes to questions?
Yeah.
Next item,
That's it. There's no item.
that was
That was it.
new business, old business.
New businesses, what the first spoke about the master.
Well, I hope everybody had a good vacation.
Yes, we did. Thank you, sir.
We missed you. Not, no, we missed you. I know this gentleman at the end of the at the end of the table here had a wonderful vacation. I am envious of you. But hey, you deserve it. So if nothing else,